Hey, how's it going? This is James Tripp. This is a video for James Tripp Chaos Wave. The title of this video is A Cultural Hypnotist's Advice on Credibility. Now, if you are a regular subscriber here on James Tripp Chaos Wave, you will know that this is the first video that I've put out for about 3 weeks, I think. And there is a reason for this. If you cast your mind back to earlier in the year, you may remember I put out a video called Burnout, What I Learnt. Well, apparently I didn't learn, because what I did when I got back from the States this year is I booked myself out about a month's worth of work with virtually no days off. I mean, really maybe a couple of days off in that whole time. And I basically pushed myself too far, too much work, took too much on. So I haven't had the bandwidth available to do the channel. And because I'm not a professional YouTuber, the channel is something that I need to make the space and the time to do. So I'm getting my head back on that. So you will be seeing more videos from me in the very near future. But this video is a cultural hypnotist's advice on credibility. Now, I want to make this video because it's, well, look, I've been reading this book. I've been reading Frank Luntz's book, Words That Work. And if you know who Frank Luntz is, you will know that he is a wordsmith, somebody who tailors language for big business, done a lot of work for the Republican Party in the US, done some for Democrats as well. But his job basically is to find words and use words that move people's minds in particular ways, that frame debates in particular ways. And the reason I've called him a cultural hypnotist here is because some of Frank Luntz's language has made its way into global culture. So one example of this, classic example, is if you remember, climate change used to be called global warming. Now, how come it became known as climate change? Well, that wasn't an accidental thing. That wasn't an accidental change of phrase. Climate change was a phrase that was created and shaped by Frank Luntz's consultancy in order to make global warming seem less scary, less alarming. Now, you might wonder on the reasons for doing that, but there are reasons for doing that which connect to business and politics, and that is Frank Luntz's job. So Frank Luntz, Words That Work. I got his book because I'm a neuro-linguist. This means I have an interest in how words move minds, and I found something particularly interesting in this. And I think it relates to the world of neuro-linguistics, hypnosis, these kinds of things. It relates to the world beyond that, but I want to share this quote with you here. If a sales pitch is too over the top, even a reasonably good experience with the product is likely to seem underwhelming to the customer. Now, this really leapt out at me, this phrase. It's on the section on credibility is as important as philosophy. Now, this really jumped out at me because for years I have been mentoring hypnotists, neurolinguists, other consultants and trainers, this kind of thing. And one of the biggest things is when people are out there promoting their business, promoting what they do, it can be really tempting to oversell. And in fact, in the world of hypnosis and NLP, this is so prevalent. It's a hugely prevalent thing, this overselling. I was even taught on my original NLP practitioner training to really kind of over-egg the benefits of the sort of change work processes that I could take people through, because that way it would build expectancy. I've heard this in hypnosis trainings as well. Build expectancy. You build something up massively and the expectancy carries you through. And do you know what? Sometimes it does. This is all about suggestion related to, if somebody believes in something enough, it can become so. But this, for me, when I became a professional practitioner, turned out to be a double-edged sword, because it could carry people through greatly, but the other way it could cut is in what I used to call the anything less than trap. Anything less than complete success is registered as absolute failure if you set it up in a binary, you will get all of this wonderful stuff kind of situation. And this is exactly what Frank Luntz is pointing to here. So it's really why it's stuck with me. I used to call it the anything less than trap, but he's talking about exactly the same thing. Even a reasonably good experience with the product is likely to seem underwhelming to the customer. This is the problem. Whether you're running trainings, whether you are selling personal consulting services, change work services, coaching services, anything like this, what you want to do is, yes, you want to set a positive expectancy, but you want to do it in such a way that it builds flexibility in. So when I'm working with people doing change work, one of the things I'll say is, look, we're here to make changes, to make differences, and if you engage with the process, we will make real differences. Now, whether or not the change you ultimately get is a result of many, many smaller changes or one or two really big changes isn't really important. Change is what we're about. We're looking to make changes, we're looking to make differences, and we will make them. Now, what I've just said when I say something like that is I'm talking about change, I'm talking about difference. I'm making it absolutely clear there will be change, there will be difference, but I'm introducing some grey scaling in there. You know, it's differences that make differences. Will we be making a lot of small differences? Will we be making one or two really big differences? You know, this is the thing. You want to build some of this gradation in. Now, the same is true if you are selling trainings, personal development trainings, anything like that, any kind of marketing. Marketing is the front end of your work. Please don't think of the work that you do if you're a professional. Whatever your line of business is, don't think of it as being separate from your line of business. When I am coaching practitioners, I've done the 2 Power of 8, so I'll be doing a new Power of 8 in the new year. You'll hear about that soon. I'm working with people to become what I call leverage practitioners, develop multiple streams of income. One of the things that I'm really clear is a big part of the game is what I call the conversation you have with the world. That is the front end of your work. It is the beginning of your work. It is not separate from your work. So you're beginning a conversation with the world, and the words you use are important because, yes, you want to light up the kind of circuits you want to get going in people's heads, but at the same time, you do not wish to risk a mismatch that could end up damaging your credibility. So with that, I want to share another quote from Frank Luntz in here. He says, "Few things are more valuable than reputation, and articulating overblown promises as a result of undisciplined language can be an incredibly dangerous game to play." So what I would emphasize with anybody, whatever you do, whether you're doing change work on a reasonably small scale, whether you're having a bigger conversation with the world about what it is that you can do and the differences that you make, yes, you want to use language that lights up people's neurology. Yes, you want to use language that has people pay attention and engage with the effective work that you do. But you want to be careful about being sloppy and overblown because you want to avoid that anything less than trap, because it is going to ultimately blow out your credibility, and it's the credibility that's going to be the engine of growth and change across time. There's one little final note that I'll add to that, and a little extra thought that's in my mind. Oftentimes when I'm talking about hypnosis, I will really state the case that hypnosis is not mind control, that it is more about influence of the complex systems that are people's psychology, neurology, this kind of thing. And sometimes people write to me and say, "James, what's your problem with the whole control thing? You know, because really we are controlling," and they sort of split hairs on the definition. Why do I choose influence over control? Because I do think, as neurolinguists, as hypnotists, we have a powerful capacity to influence those around us with our language. But if we claim that we can control things, we can control these rich systems, richly complex systems that are human beings, their neurology, their psychology, in my view, we are overstating the case and we are risking damaging credibility. And I think this is what's happened in the world of NLP and hypnosis to a large degree. There's a lot of people out there with very low opinions of neurolinguistics, of NLP, this kind of thing. Why? Because there's so many trainers out there making these really strong cases for being able to control other people's minds. The reality falls short because it's more subtle, it's more nuanced. Yes, you can influence powerfully, but that is not the same as controlling the minds of another. If hypnotists, for example, could really control people's minds in such an absolute way, in the way that many hypnosis trainers I know will teach, then your average stage hypnotist would not be your average stage hypnotist. They would be, I don't know, the leader of the entire planet, something like that. But of course, there are limits to what we can do in terms of influence, and there's a lot of nuance in the mix that makes it something a lot less clear-cut than a simple matter of mind control. So this relates. I jumped on that. Very happy to see Frank Luntz referencing that himself. And also, I'd just say right now, it's a good book as well. So if you have an interest in how words can move minds, I would recommend that you add this to your library. Okay, so thanks for watching this video. If you've enjoyed this video, if you like the video, give it the thumbs up. If you don't like the video, please do feel free to let me know in the comments section below. I'd absolutely love to hear from you. I will be getting back on top of making the videos more regularly, back in the groove with that, giving myself more rest time to develop these things. So please do subscribe to the channel and make sure you hit that notifications bell if you are looking for information you will not get anywhere else on using your mind to shape your life, on linguistics, on psychology, these kinds of things. Take care until we speak again.